In the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning and welcome to our Tuesday morning meeting, July 2nd, 2024. Hard to believe it's July 2nd already. My name is Andy Hunthausen. I'll be chairing the meeting. To my left, Commissioner Tom Rolfe. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman.
To his left, Brandy Spangler. Good morning, Brandy. She'll be taking care of us today. To my right, Commissioner Candace Payne. Good morning. Nico Hash, Deputy County Attorney. Good morning. And Roger Baltz, our Chief Administrative Officer. Good morning, Mr. Baltz. There is a sign-in sheet in the front as well as agendas. Please sign in prior to leaving today so we have a good record of who's attended our meeting. And we will start with consent action items. I'll turn it over to Mr. Baltz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. This is item 2A on the agenda today. It's a letter of support for the Bureau of Reclamation's Canyon Ferry Dam Bridge Rehabilitation application, and staff recommends approval. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you very much. Any questions, Commissioners?
None.
Any public comment on the consent action item? Any public comment? Seeing no public come forward, is there a motion, please?
Chairman Hunthausen, I move that we approve the consent action item 2A as presented by Roger Baltz.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the consent action item as presented. Further discussion, Commissioners? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is a bid award update for the lower D2 ditch flood mitigation project. Precast Materials.
Good morning,
Good
Mr.
morning.
Chair, Commissioners. Dan Karlin, County Engineer, here to give you a brief update on the D2 bid award for the Precast Materials. We got one bid from Rinker Materials here in Helena for this supply bid. We had an engineer's estimate that was about $600,000. The bid came in about $772,000. So we're a little over what we anticipated by a pretty decent margin. It's about $180,000. This project is funded through ARPA, granted by this commission, as well as an RID for flood mitigation work. So we have been kind of discussing internally. We have a meeting set for later today to discuss the budget and the funding sources and make sure that we're comfortable moving forward with this particular bid. We're pretty confident in that, but we want to make sure we have all our ducks in a row before we award this bid. So we would request that we come back next Thursday with a formal recommendation after we've had an opportunity to have our discussion internally and then also with our consultant. The reason for that is, if you recall, in 2018, when we did the other flood mitigation work near Sierra Road, we did a similar process where we awarded the material supply ahead of time, and then we came back and did the construction contract after that. At that point in time, we were over our allotted budget when we got that second contract in. So we just want to make sure we don't end up in a similar scenario with this project. So, got any questions?
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Karlin. Really appreciate the due diligence on this and making sure that we're crossing our T's, dotting our I's. Commissioners, questions about this?
I think that explains it pretty well.
Right. And so there'll be no action today other than a motion to, you would like to put this, what's the date? Certain.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, July 11th, please.
Put this on July 11th agenda. So we'll take it up again then, Commissioners, with your permission. But in the meantime, we will ask for public comment if there's anyone that would like to comment on this item, this update on the D2 ditch flood mitigation project. Any public comment? Okay, Commissioners, any other questions or concerns, discussion? If not, how about a motion to take this item up at our July 11th meeting?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to take this item up on at our meeting on July 11th at a regular scheduled meeting, and we'll consider it then. Commissioners, any further discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. All right, next item on the agenda is Resolution 2024-64 to create the Orofino Rural Improvement District number 2024-2. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. My name is Jessica Makus, Special Districts Program Coordinator for Lewis and Clark County. Today is the public hearing regarding Resolution 2024-64 to create the Orofino Rural Improvement District to improve and maintain Menlo Park Road, Lodestar Road, Homestake Drive, and a portion of Bernice Drive. The proposed district is located on the map here. It's located to the west of North Montana Avenue, directly across North Montana Avenue from the Treasure State Acres subdivision. It's highlighted.
Dark purple.
Yep, dark purple. There is also a park district out here that kind of overlaps. So if you look, I left it highlighted. There's a blue kind of circle highlighting the actual district boundary here. There are some lots just off of North Montana that are not included. So you can kind of see that if you look at the map. The resolution of intention to create the Orofino Rural Improvement District was passed by the Commission on May 23rd, 2024. After receiving a petition signed by 75% of property owners within the proposed district. There are a total of 36 proposed benefiting properties in this district. The general character of improvements includes asphalt paving and chip sealing on the full extent of Menlo Park Road, full extent of Homestake Drive, the existing hard surface portion of Lodestar Road from North Montana to Bernice Drive, and approximately 487 feet of Bernice Drive starting at Menlo Park Road. Financing of these improvements is estimated to total $317,641. Each benefiting property is proposed to be levied a 15-year debt service assessment of $909 annually. The general character of maintenance includes snow plowing and sanding, pothole patching, crack sealing, sweeping, chip sealing, drainage maintenance, and other maintenance as needed to preserve the road improvements. Annual maintenance is estimated to total $8,280, and each benefiting property is proposed to be levied a maintenance assessment of $230 per year. The estimated total proposed assessment is $1,139 per property per year for the first 15 years, and then dropping to the maintenance assessment after the improvement is paid off. Upon passage of the resolution of intention to create on May 23rd, notice of the intention to create the district and today's public hearing was mailed to each property owner, and a 30-day comment and protest period was open to the public. Legal notice was published in the Helena Independent Record on Saturday, May 25th and Saturday, June 1st. The comment and protest period closed on Friday, June 28th. No protest was received. If the Orofino RID is created, it would replace the current RID with the same boundaries, and we would move forward to dissolve the current RID and transfer any remaining fund balance to the new Orofino RID. Additionally, if the district is created, it's anticipated a resolution to levy and assess the RID will be brought before the Commission prior to September 1st. If approved, the new assessment would be added to the 2024 tax bill, and benefiting property owners would see that assessment beginning with the November 2024 tax bill. In addition, we would also present a loan application to the Montana Board of Investments to fund an intercap loan for the initial construction. Staff recommend approval of Resolution 2024-64 to create the Orofino Rural Improvement District. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Questions, commissioners?
Jessica, I was just wondering when the taxpayers in this district would see action on, I mean, when do they start actually working and to improve these roads? Soon?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioner Payne. That's a great question. I anticipate we would pass the resolution to levy and assess sometime in August. We do have to send another round of legal notice, letting them know the public hearing date, and that has to stay open for a certain amount of time before we can hold that public hearing. When we do that, I generally bring the application to the Montana Board of Investments at the same time as an agenda item to follow the resolution to levy and assess. At that point, we send that application to the Montana Board of Investments. It takes anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks to hear back that that loan has been approved. Depending on that time frame, if it's possible with weather and the timing for this fall, it's possible we could put that project out to bid for asphalt this fall. If it's not, I would anticipate we would put that out to bid next spring and get that pavement on the ground next spring and then chip seal probably in July and August with the rest of our county and RID chip sealing.
One more. Will these people have their roads plowed this winter?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Payne, yes. So this
Okay.
has been an existing district since 1994. And so there is a remaining maintenance fund balance. And what we would do, what we're able to do by statute, when you create a new RID with a new improvement with generally the same boundary, which is what we have in this case, you can transfer that existing maintenance fund balance to the new district. So there will be money in there to patch potholes for the remainder of the season as needed, just to make sure the road is still passable, and then also to provide winter maintenance as needed.
One more. I recall a conversation with you about before you and your boss, whose name I can't think of, but it's kind of
Director Chambers.
no,
Jenny Chambers.
it's a general, anyway, before you came on, it had been about 20 years since there had been any updates to the cost of the existing RIDs. Is that, so those were created in about 1994, is that correct?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Payne, this district was created in 1994. I believe there were some updates to the assessment. I want to say in the early 2000s. I could certainly look back at the resolutions and get you that answer. When Caleb Marcus and I came on board in 2019.
Caleb is whose name?
Very good. He and I started to look at these budgets more closely, and we had then the capacity in this program to look at them annually and to make sure that we were assessing enough each year. Prior to us coming on board, Jesse Whitford was working in a half-time capacity with his position split between the RID program and the road department to oversee all of those RIDs. When we came on board, I think there were about 100 different districts. So, you could see how that would get very challenging.
Absolutely. So when we see, I mean, we've been going through this process of approving these RIDs, seems like almost every meeting, but that's because it has sort of not been attended to, and we need to take care of it.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Payne, so as part of our effort to look at these budgets each year, we bring about 20 to 25 districts generally over the past, I'd say about 3 years, to you in public hearing with a resolution to levy and assess to increase that assessment rate to cover the maintenance for each of these districts as needed. The reason I believe that we've had so many in the last few years is because of the inflation we're seeing in our construction market.
Oh,
So initially with that big bump that we saw in chip sealing, and now, the rest of it's kind of catching up with our grading and other services as well.
thank you.
You're welcome.
So great questions, Commissioner, actually. Any questions? At this
Just a comment that you got 75% of the people within the district that signed a petition to get this done. I think that's really, I know, though our suggestion is to have at least 20% do it. When you've got a larger expense-wise district like that, to have a well over a majority, 3/4 of the people supporting it, that's quite a feat, and I think it gives an indication that the people really want it. So thank you for doing that.
You're welcome. Mr. Chair, Commissioner Rolfe, Caleb and I did hold an evening meeting, with the residents. I think we only had, we had few attendees, but we were able to talk about the need for it. And also there is an active HOA in this neighborhood, which helps a lot because they, have access to everybody's contact information and are able to communicate a little bit better than, a neighborhood that doesn't have an organization like that.
Thank you.
Great, good points. And I just want to go back to your questions. I thought they were great in the sense that from an education perspective, in that those that might be watching today or learning about this, that it's quite a process. So it's great that we have 75% of the folks in support, but we still have to go through the process. So it's likely that the process and with applying for the loan and all of that won't be complete till mid-September, right? Guesstimation. If middle of August is when we apply, middle of September, we'll know for sure probably if the loan is there. And then to go through the bid process and all of that to get work done on the ground could push us into the off construction season and maybe push that into the spring. So that is possible, but a good point to bring up. Though we're doing this now because this will show up on the folks' tax bill in November. So they'll start paying into this if it's approved, assuming it's approved. So we're going with that at the moment. But it's a process, and I think you brought that up. And for people that are watching, it starts with essentially a meeting saying, wow, do you want a different level of service here? Do you want this to be improved and changed? And if the answer is yes, and the petition is brought forward, then we start the process of the intent to create a district, and now the creation of the district, and then we go through another formal process of levying and assessing if this is approved, and then applying for the loan, and then getting that, and then the bid process. So it's quite a story by the time we're done, and it's built that way. It's cumbersome, but it's built that way in our system in state law because we don't want to put this burden on taxpayers without going through a very formal and public process so that they are fully aware of what's happening. They can participate in the process. And we generally, as Commissioner Rolfe said, we generally get a good number of supporters from the neighborhood so that we know we're moving forward on their behalf, not doing something to them. So that it's all part of the process. So thank you for that question. And I'm trying to think of the other one that you brought up. Maybe I combined them both there with the timing and the other part of it. But anyway, I thought they were good, thought-provoking questions. So thank you very much for this. And I know what it was.
Sure.
The RIDs, we have about 150 of them, approximately, a little more now, right? But you and Caleb are annually looking at each one of those essentially. And if there are large anomalies, for example, I think Commissioner Payne essentially brought this up. One hasn't been changed or looked at for 20 years. It's like, wow, is this really bringing in the amount of money that in today's prices that we would need to keep the snow plowing up or the patching up or whatever it might be, or the chip seal coming forward. So you look at those, and the ones that aren't realistically being assessed a high enough fee to cover their costs, that is, you have another meeting with the community and propose an increase. So, and you were saying, I think, that they've been bringing approximately 20, 25 RIDs to us each year for review and consideration of either up or down increase or decrease. And I think that's been very good since you and Caleb have been on our roles here. We have had much more attention and care given to these RIDs. I think we're in a lot better shape going forward. We have a lot more realistic numbers in terms of the dollars that are being assessed so that those services can be continued. And we've had a few over the last few years where they, started way back when, 20, 30 years ago, and they're getting assessed, $50 or something, and they're saying, boy, they have no money in here, and we can't even do the maintenance because they have not been collecting enough money to continue going forward. So then we have to go to the neighborhood and say, geez, we need I'm making this up, but a $200 increase, to get you guys back to. So we want to avoid that and do more incremental look at these annually and try to make sure we're working with the neighborhoods to make sure that they're collecting the amount they need to cover the maintenance that they have indicated in their resolution. So that sum it up okay. But
Mr. Chair, that's an excellent summary. Thank you.
And you sparked a great question there, Commissioner. So thank you.
I think it's just kind of challenging timing, right? Caleb and I came on board. We're looking at each district's revenue and projected expenditures over the next, several year period. And, recognizing that many of those districts had not had an increase in many years. But that compiled with our recent inflation challenges has made those needed increases a little bit higher than I would like to see. But when we meet with these neighborhoods, these districts in the evening meetings that we hold, we lay out all the options. We can increase the assessment to continue with maintenance as intended by the resolutions that created these districts, because they are in a rural improvement district, or we can help them through the dissolution process. We always offer that as well. If a district no longer wants to continue with the RID model, we'll help them dissolve the RID just as we would help them create an RID. So it's definitely up to the people that live in that neighborhood how they'd like to proceed.
Great, thank you. A great general discussion about RIDs, and we are, just to refocus, is talking about Resolution 2024-64. This is your Fino Rural Improvement District. And at this point, we'll take public comment on this item. Is there any public comment on the creation of this RID? Any public comment? Okay. Hearing none, we will close public comment. Commissioners, further discussion and/or a motion, please.
Chairman Hunthausen, I move that we approve Resolution 2024-64 to create the Fino Rural Improvement District number 2024-2 as presented by Ms. Makus.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the resolution as presented. Further discussion, Commissioner. As Commissioner Rolfe said, I'm cheating off both of you today, just using your stuff. But as you said, I really appreciate the community, the neighborhood taking responsibility for their RID and what is needed there to take care of the streets in front of their homes. Really appreciate that. And we will do our best to take care of those everybody roads that are out there, the Sierras and the Wileys and the everybody county roads that we all pay into. So we'll partner with you to do our part as well. All right, commissioners, with that, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Thank you. All right, on we move to the next item on the agenda. Thanks for coming. Appreciate you being here. A grant award to Lewis and Clark Public Health from the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of the Commission. I'm Sarah Sandau, the Community Health Promotion Division Administrator at Lewis and Clark Public Health. Today, I have before you a grant award from the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services for the Chronic Disease Prevention Programs, which includes the Montana Cancer Control Programs, Montana Asthma Control Program, Montana Tobacco Use Prevention Program, Montana Healthy Living Program, and the Montana Connect Program, for the amount of $326,097 for July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. We have received this chronic disease prevention contract for many years. This contract includes the following programmatic components: to implement the breast and cervical screening services in Broadwater, Jefferson, Lewis and Clark, and Marr counties. The primary programmatic focus of that program is the prevention and early detection of cancer in the general population. The local goal of the Montana Healthy Living Program is to implement the Walk with Ease, which is a self-directed walking program to encourage walking and moving. This is one of the arthritis prevention programs promoted by the state. To implement the Connect referral system, which is a system that allows client contact information to be sent between service providers. So if you go into a doctor or a physical therapist or go into a provider and they see that you have a different need that they can't provide, they can send your referral to another provider, and then that provider will call you versus giving the 15 pamphlets and hoping that that person ends up in services that they need. This takes away barriers and increases, hopefully, the client referrals. The Montana Asthma Program utilizes home visiting staff to provide education to individuals with uncontrolled asthma and their families about self-management of asthma and control of environmental asthma triggers. And then the purpose of the Montana Tobacco Use Prevention Program, community-based funding, is to address the public health crisis caused by the use of all forms of commercial tobacco products in Montana. This includes building community-level capacity for tobacco prevention work, preventing local youth from beginning a lifetime of addiction of commercial tobacco products, promoting quitting among adults and young people, and eliminating exposure to the hazardous effects of secondhand smoke and actively supporting the Montana Clean Indoor Air Act. Thank you for your time. Staff recommends approval, and I'm here for questions.
Thank you very much. Questions, Commissioner? Any questions? All right, how about public comment on this item? Any public comment? Any public comment? Okay, seeing no public comment, is there a motion, please, Commissioners?
Mr. Chair, I would move to approve the grant award to Lewis and Clark Public Health from the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services, as explained by Ms. Sandau.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the grant award as presented. Further discussion? I just appreciate the work bringing this forward. I'm glad that we're continuing to get these grants and services for our community. Matter of fact, I just recently had opportunity to be a participant in the Connect program. Went to my primary care physician, recommended see somebody else, and within that same day, I got a call to set up the appointment. So it was great. Yep, works very well. Appreciate it. All right, Commissioners. With that, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Next item on the agenda is a board appointment for the Augusta Solid Waste District Board. Mr. Baltz, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. This is item number 6 on the agenda. You have the backup memo as per our usual process. I'll read it into the record for your consideration. These candidates meet the qualifications for consideration of this board. This is the Augusta Solid Waste District Board. Kathy Murphy resigned with a term to expire December 31, 2024. Lloyd Allen and Brian Moody applied. Action staff recommends that the Commissioners consider the applicants and select a candidate for the Augusta Solid Waste District Board to complete the term that expires December 31, 2024. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you so much. Commissioners, discussion, what's your pleasure? Would you like to consider here? If there's discussion, we will also take public comment on this item. So,
I just have, this is a board that I sit on, and both of the candidates have, shown a real long-term interest in this. This is basically a 6-month appointment, is that right?
Yes, Commissioners. So this would be for a term that expires December 31, 2024. So just as you said, about a 6-month term.
Do you have any idea when the other appointments on the people that are sitting on this board, will there be a turnover for those people same time?
So, Mr. Chair and Commissioner Payne, I don't have that information in front of me. Sorry.
Okay.
We could get it for you.
My thought being that if for some reason this appointment doesn't work very well, we do have an opportunity to straighten things out. And that's all.
and I would offer as well that we have an opportunity maybe at that time or at the next time to appoint one of the others as well. So we have 2 candidates here that are, like you said, they participate a lot. So there will be other opportunities for appointments as terms expire or people move on. So we can surely keep one or the other in our files for future potential appointment. So any thoughts, questions about this? Okay, how about public comment on this item prior to making a decision? Any public comment? Okay. Commissioners, is there a motion, a choice, something that you'd like to put forward?
Mr. Chairman, I would move to select applicant Brian Moody as the replacement district board member for Kathy Murphy.
Second.
Moved and seconded to appoint Brian Moody to the Augusta Solid Waste District Board for the remainder of the term as described by Mr. Baltz. Any further discussion, commissioners? Just appreciate folks stepping forward and being willing to serve. With that, All in favor of Mr. Moody being appointed, say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you very much. Okay. Mr. Baltz, I think that takes care of that item, and we'll move on to the last item on the agenda, which is any public comment on any item that is under the jurisdiction of the commission, but not on today's agenda. Any public comment? Any public comment? Hearing no public comment, we will stand adjourned. Thank you all very much.